Thrill me.
I'm gonna name you Kodo. You get a name too, Podo.
His name is Happy Harry Hardon. He's a total sex maniac.
Of course.
Welcome, everybody, to another Q's and T's installment of the Unkind Rewind, where each week we dive into our guests' past with a movie. And,
Swim around a little bit.
yeah.
Not only
next
do we
week
dive in, we swim around.
Oh, yeah, we swim around. We do all sorts of stuff.
We do some tricks.
Yeah. So this week, after Sean and I talk for a bit, we will be getting to know Laura Faye Smith.
Who most people know.
Yeah.
I mean, if you played a video game in the last 10 years, you know Laura Faye Smith.
Yeah.
If you watched television in the last, 20 years, you know Laura Faye Smith.
Yeah.
But yeah, another big swinging dick high-profile guest on the Unkind Rewind.
Big time.
Figuratively speaking.
Yes. Yeah, not literally.
We've probably had a few of those, though.
Sure. Speaking of them, our guest for The Gate, Daniel H. Wilson, has a new novel out.
Oh,
Hole
cool.
in the Sky. So that's out via Penguin Random House.
So when you said, speaking of, meaning literally, you know
Swinging
something
dick
I don't
guests
know?
we've had. Swinging dick guests we've had.
Okay, well, I mean, maybe
Yeah,
you've
big
seen
swinging dick.
Maybe you've seen the jacket photograph that he uses as his art.
I sure have.
Oh, interesting that he
Yeah.
went with that.
Yeah, it's crazy.
The name of the novel again is what?
It's called Hole in the Sky. The capsule per Penguin Random House is a Native American first contact story and gripping thriller from the New York Times bestselling author of Robopocalypse. The first two blurbs on the back of the book are thrilling and personal, an important addition to the landscape of science fiction from Pierce Brown, the number 1 New York Times bestselling author of Red Rising, and Hole in the Sky is a mind-bending Hole in the Sky is mind-bending. Indigenous knowledge collides with science fiction in a thrilling page-turner, and that's from Sterling fucking Harjo.
Cool.
So, writer and filmmaker of Reservation Dogs, Jesus. Reservation Dogs, and I was already moving on in my head to The Lowdown, which is airing currently on FX, and which I've seen the first 2 episodes of, and it's really great.
Well, 2 things. One is I wonder if this is set in Daniel H. Wilson's home state.
Well, the summary says, on the Great Plains of Oklahoma, in the heart of the Cherokee Nation, a strange atmospheric disturbance is noticed by Jim Hardgray, a down-on-his-luck single father trying to reconnect with his teenage daughter Tawny. At NASA's headquarters in Houston, Texas, astrophysicist Dr. Michaela Johnson observes an interaction with the Voyager 1 spacecraft on the far side of the solar system, and she concludes that something enormous with unidentified is heading directly for Earth. And in an undisclosed bunker somewhere in the U.S., an American threat forecaster known only as the Man Downstairs intercepts a cryptic communication and sends a message directly to the president and highest-ranking military brass. First contact imminent. Yeah.
Wow. Sounds like
I've actually pre-ordered my copy,
cool.
and it is. I know it was through. If you go through his Facebook page, there was a thing with it being signed through an independent bookstore in Oregon. I know he's on a book tour right now. I hope this probably won't drop in time, but I know he's got a date tonight in Oklahoma and another one on Saturday in Oklahoma, and then he's got dates in the upcoming week in Oregon and Washington. So,
was the independent bookstore Powell's or something else?
Powell's is one of the bookstores in Portland that he's doing a reading at, but no, the independent bookstore that you can get the signed books through is not Powell's. It's a different bookstore.
Broadway books?
It had a... God damn it. I could find it quick.
Cameron's
It's,
closed. Cameron's was fun. But I think they mostly did used books.
Let me see. I'll check my emails. Annie Bloom's books.
Annie Bloom's, okay.
Yeah.
Good people down.
Yeah.
Well, you mentioned the Lowdown.
Sure did. Have you been watching?
I have not been watching, but I will see a little bit of a Venn diagram. I'm going to the premiere, perhaps? Maybe that term is a little loose, of Blue Moon tonight.
Okay.
Which is the Ethan Hawke movie directed by Linkletter.
Okay.
Starring him as the Broadway composer Moss.
Yeah.
And I believe sexy priest Andrew Scott plays his writing partner, Hart.
Old writing partner. This is after they've split, I believe.
Yeah.
Is the premise.
I think that this, Margaret Qualley, maybe some other people. Bobby Cannavale is in it.
Yeah.
Who I just actually saw a couple days ago in a production of Art.
Okay.
On Broadway with Neil Patrick Harris, and James Corden would have been in it, but he had a scheduled absence and was replaced by an understudy by the name of Harry Smith.
He probably had to ignore his crying child on the airplane while his wife tended to everything, and
presumptively.
Sorry. That's a little inside baseball celebrity gossip.
There we go. This is what people
or he was busy flipping out at a server and getting 86 from a New York restaurant.
Yeah.
James Corden sucks. BT dubs.
Okay, well, there goes the opportunity for him to come on this show.
I don't want him on the show. Fuck James Corden.
Okay, well, you know what we should do? We should get on his understudy.
Yes.
So Harry Smith, who very...
This is the former CBS morning host, Harry Smith?
I think this is maybe an illegitimate progeny of him that took his name.
Okay.
Yeah, he came on in lieu of James Corden and crushed it. And
nice.
You
were lucky.
We were really lucky, yeah. An offer to come on the Unkind Rewind. Extended off to Harry Smith.
Yeah. If you're listening, and I'm sure you are, Harry Smith. Harry Smith, honestly. I'd be fine with the CBS morning host, too.
Yeah, we could even do it. Like, maybe that could be one of our tandem episodes where we have two guests.
Yeah, two Harry Smiths. Yeah.
Yeah. And then how would we... Would it just be in our tone and how we would infer who we were talking to?
Yeah. It'd be Harry or Harry.
Okay. Yeah. See what you did there. And so you're putting a little bit more of a downbeat, some gravitas on the elder Harry Smith. Yeah. Okay.
They can only hear you when you talk low.
Exactly. This is the opening night of the LGBTQ New York Film Fest.
Okay.
At the SVA Theater, maybe we get a cameo by Ethan Hawke, maybe Richard Linklater's there. We don't know. Nobody knows. But it would be fun to see those guys, and I would extend a secondhand endorsement of the Lowdown, I guess.
You saw Reservation Dogs.
Yeah.
This is more in the, like, sort of, it's sort of Pinchonian in its DNA, but in Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's fun.
Who's the other cast of that?
Lots of people. I haven't gotten to, I believe Dinklage is in it, but he hasn't shown up yet. Johnny Pemberton was in it, former Munch My Benson guest, Johnny Pemberton.
Oh, cool.
Who,
I believe Dinklage
Jeannie
and Hawke.
Triplehorn.
Oh, there she is. She was kind of like, wasn't she kind of like Weinsteined in a way of like being told that she was difficult? Like, didn't he do that with like her and Mia Sorvino?
I'm not sure if Triplehorn was on the list, but she may have been.
I think that she may have been, yeah. I think that she was one of those ones that, like,
wouldn't
visit the hotel room or something, and he kind of saboed her career, because she had quite a run there in the early 90s.
She did.
Firm, Basic Instinct.
Yeah, Basic Instinct. Waterworld.
Yeah. Then she had this big gap, and I think, what was it, the Bill Paxton Mormon Wives?
Yeah.
Love something. It was Love something.
Why
on
can't
HBO.
I think of the
You're the TV guy.
I know.
You know. Big Love.
Big Love, yeah. I can't get Burning Love out of my head, which was the dating show, riff on dating show comedy thing.
If you're keeping tally of how many times Sean remembered a show before Josh, we're at 1. So this is a very special episode. Josh's TV brain is
I've
insane.
seen a lot.
Yeah.
Seen a lot. Have you seen One Battle After Another yet?
So here's what we're going to do, because I saw that you saw it. Next time that you and I talk, we're going to have a discussion, because I am going tomorrow at 3:10 to the Regal Theater here in New York City, of which this is just kind of like a masturbatory.
Going to the One VistaVision screen in...
I am going to the One VistaVision screen.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, right. It plays 4 times a day, 11 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 7 and 9 or 10 o'clock. So, yeah, the next time that you and I will talk, we're going to have a little set-aside time for OBAA.
Yeah.
But we can't do it right now, unfortunately.
No.
Anything else you've seen? Unkind Rewind related?
Well, I mean, I've been watching SVUs again.
Oh, there we go. You're back on the horse.
Yeah.
Josh is back with his first love.
Just a love.
Josh is back with his second wife.
Yeah.
Munch My Benson.
Yeah.
Did you get?
So yeah, that's
you're
going
just
on.
getting. You're just getting Benson, right? You're not getting a Munch episode.
First one, no Munch.
Okay.
But everyone since then has been munched, so that's nice.
Oh. How was it like talking to Adam again?
It's good. It had been like 10 months, which was a long time. I mean, we're like in a text thread, but you know, that's not the same as like spending. We recorded for just shy of 3 hours for episode 240.
Okay, it's hard to hear the Adam Schwitter's laugh though in a text thread.
Yeah, it is. Luckily that's Adam's edit, not mine.
Okay.
So he's got to cut like an hour and a half out of that.
Yeah. So what happens to that hour and a half? That foreskin of that show?
That just goes to the munchies.
Okay. So if they're a VIP,
if they're Patreon subscribers at the $5 level, they get the uncut episodes, which is like the first one we dropped, I edited and I cut like 45 minutes out.
Mm-hmm. So I'll get that.
You get the one with the 45 minutes cut out. Yeah.
Thank God. Yeah.
But no ads.
I get all those references.
You actually get almost all of the cut stuff.
Okay,
that's where we go off talking about random shit that is like all the baseball content.
Oh, good.
That's for the Patreon.
Do you have baseball content even though the season's over to discuss?
100%. Almost every episode's a baseball episode.
If you're listening to this and not watching it, Josh is wearing a Montreal Expos hat.
Yeah, and a Riverboat Gamblers shirt.
Okay, well, we haven't had any former Expos on. We have had a Riverboat Gambler on the show.
We have, and this Riverboat Gamblers shirt has Jaws going after Jane Mansfield in the bathtub.
Oh, geez.
Which I guess here you can see it.
There we go.
There.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's from oh God, why can't I remember the name of that movie? I've seen it.
Jaws?
Sorry, no, the Jane Mansfield movie.
I actually haven't seen too much of her work.
Yeah, Hollywood had. Did you watch the documentary?
Mm-mm.
My Mom Jane or whatever.
Mm-mm.
Her name was Jane. The one that Hargitay directed this year.
Mm-mm.
It's interesting. But yeah, for those who didn't fill in the gap, that Jane Mansfield is Mariska Hargitay's mother. So
Yeah. Died tragically.
with Hargitay in the fucking car.
Yeah. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Hopefully she has time to work through that as she revisits crime scenes for her career every day.
Yeah. So moving
So we have
into
Podbiz?
we have some follow-ups and then Podbiz. So we talked a little bit about films that shot at Castle Green in Pasadena, and Forrest thought maybe In a Lonely Place In a Lonely Place is of course directed by La Crosse native Nicholas Ray.
This is follow-ups from our Sting episode.
Yes, follow-ups from the Sting episode. So In a Lonely Place, Nicholas Ray, La Crosse Central grad. Same high school, I believe 2 years apart from Joseph Losey.
Go Beavers?
There were probably still the Red Raiders then.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
About that.
About that
mascot.
Yeah. But yeah, Nicholas Ray and Joseph Losey, both very, very criminally underrated directors. I know you had asked me in the past if I had directors to recommend that were weird. Both Nicholas Ray, who directed Rebel Without a Cause, but directed a lot of other great stuff, and Joseph Losey, who was blacklisted and moved to the UK.
Yeah, that's the name. That's the name I don't immediately have an image come to mind.
Yeah, they're both really good. And anytime one of their films pops up on Criterion, I haven't seen it, I make sure to watch it. Now, I couldn't corroborate that In a Lonely Place shot at Castle Green. That doesn't mean it definitely didn't, but I couldn't corroborate it.
Okay.
I was right that Puppet Master shot there.
Everybody's been waiting with bated breath on that one. So
yes,
listeners, you can sleep now. Josh has got to the bottom of this.
Yes. Now, other films that shot there: Wild at Heart, Sneakers, Babylon, Last Samurai, Deja Vu, Live by Night, Bugsy, The Prestige.
Jeez.
The Man Who Wasn't There, Little Rascals, The Grifters, and everybody's favorite movie that was shooting on 9/11 and took a moment of silence for When the Towers Fell and then got right back to work.
The Matrix Reloaded?
Master of Disguise.
With Dana Carvey? Wow. Is that
producer?
Can we see that somewhere?
The towers fell. A producer came down to stage, told everybody that the World Trade Center fell. They had a moment of silence, and then they got back to work on the turtle scene.
Oh, Jesus Christ. I mean, they weren't filming this, right? They weren't filming this downtime.
That scene wasn't happening at that wasn't shot at Castle Green, but that's my favorite.
Okay.
That's my favorite anecdote about that production.
Okay, I think that there's actually recording of the cast and crew of The Matrix taking a moment of silence or something like that, as they were filming those two sequels back to back. It's funny, I just watched Sneakers. I wonder what they filmed there, because I was ingesting Redford like everybody else.
I need to rewatch that. I haven't seen that in 30 years.
Yeah, I wonder if that will come up. I wonder if that's a movie for people's,
I would guess that it'll show up on a list eventually, especially now that Redford's like more in our memories. Mm-hmm. Because it was kind of hard to find for a little while. Anyway, I thought that In a Lonely Place shot on the old Pickford Fairbanks Studios, which is now the lot at Formosa. I mistakenly thought that was part of the old Warner Brothers lot. But it looks like In a Lonely Place shot at the old Columbia Sunset Gower Studios, which is much closer to the original Warner Brothers building, which is now the KTLA Studios on Sunset, right by, like, on the front of where the Sunset Bronson Netflix studio stages are. I did forget to mention, I had this written down and forgot to mention that they did shoot some of the Sting at the Biltmore in downtown LA. We also talked a little bit about Oscars, and you corrected me that Walt Disney has the most by a single person. He has 22 from 59 nominations.
That's probably the most nominations as well, I imagine.
Yeah, I would assume so, yes.
Yeah.
Second is art director Cedric Gibbons, who won 11. Then composer Alfred Newman has 9. Then it's Edith Head, who was nominated 35 times and won 8. She's tied with both Alan Menken and... These are competitive Oscars, by the way, not honorific ones. Alan Menken and VFX guru Dennis Murren both have 8, as does the set designer who worked a lot with Cedric Gibbons, Edwin B. Willis. John Williams has been nominated 54 fucking times.
Wow. What's his wins?
He's only won 5.
So a 10% success rate.
Yeah.
What a fucking loser.
Yeah. If he were a baseball player...
Who has lost the most Academy Awards?
He wouldn't
John
just
Williams.
be sent down to AAA. He'd
Good
be sent
Lord.
down... He'd be sent down to fucking rookie ball.
Has this guy accomplished anything in his life?
What an amateur.
Yeah. Just some Bush League composing. Welcome on the show. while we still have him.
All right, so on Blue Sky, after the Q's and T's episode with Forrest Miller dropped, Mobius 13 informed us that Sister Act just came to Netflix.
Hell yeah.
Which
is, I believe, the remake of Nuns on the Run. Is that right? It is like an official... No, but I'm serious. Like the... Who are those two guys?
Robbie Coltrane and Eric
Idle, right?
Yeah.
Like, isn't it like a soft remake of that?
I have no idea. I mean, that seems very quick turnaround. They're, 3 years apart?
That's not that crazy. It's not that crazy.
Well, but like, Nuns on the Run was in English and domestically released.
Okay,
like,
if anybody worked in production on Sister Act, if they want to write in and say I
don't know this. Like, I just feel like they're sort of like treading the same territory.
Yeah.
That's my suspicion, but who knows? I figure that it's Ghoulies to Gremlins relationship.
Okay.
You know? Anyway.
Okay, so according to Google, it was not a remake of Nuns on the Run. It's an original story.
Okay.
Nuns on the Run is a separate 1986 British comedy. Wow, I didn't expect it was that old.
I would have assumed it was 88.
Yeah.
Because I remember commercials for it. And I wouldn't think that I would remember commercials in 86. Maybe it didn't get domestic US release until like a year later. I don't know, whatever. It'll come up eventually. We'll dig into it.
Yeah, but like anybody who was yelling into the ether that it was not a fucking remake, we're good. We don't need the phone calls.
Although you can call in. I'll play it. Yeah.
We still have just one phone call, right?
2.
Oh.
Well, no, I guess the other one I actually had on Zoom. It's fine. Oh, Chicklet also dropped a new episode. Maybe we'll eventually be on to talk about the Twilight movies.
Wink, wink.
Are you listening,
Back in
Karen?
Theaters, by the way. Did you know that?
Are you getting a residual
No, it doesn't
check?
work like that.
Okay.
Yeah, believe me, I called. I was like, where's my money? Yeah, so, you should be hearing this around the time.
This is literally dropping today.
Okay, yes. So, all 5 Twilight movies.
This will drop by the time you're home from the theater.
All 5 Twilight movies are back in theaters coast to coast, starting October 29th.
Is there any new footage?
There's this weird thing where the frat boys, after being scared by Edward, go back to their frat.
Okay.
And because they can't process what has just happened, they do a 4-person murder-suicide.
Okay. And
Like
this isn't related to the car accident that you almost got them all in?
No. I almost killed all 4 of us in real life. But no, this is like the characters can't process what just happened and the fear in which Edward thrust us is something that we just can't come back from. And so
Right.
we just decided to end it.
Yeah.
End it at like gamma delt.
Sure. Emphasis on the delts. Oh, yeah.
Supersets.
Oh, also, Mobius 13 said that if you're on a Roku device, you can watch The Sting on the Retro Movie app.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, I don't have a Roku device, but for all of those people with smart TVs that have Roku preloaded, I think you can watch it on Retro
I
Movie.
have a Roku, but I don't have a super smart TV. It's just a flat screen that has apps, but I don't think it's smart.
Okay.
I think there is like some difference. Like,
Okay. Well, smart just means it connects to the internet, right?
I mean, yeah. I mean, I have a like a HDMI Roku device plugged into it.
Okay, I see what you're saying. I think with a Roku device like that also, with the external Roku player, you also are able to connect to Retro Movie.
It might be a lowercase s.
Yeah.
Smart TV.
Gopher Ball said this week's movie is perhaps the only movie my grandmother ever watched as long as I knew her. She would never sit still, but if this movie was on, she would sit quietly and watch it. Mm-hmm. She also confused the theme song with a popular singer. I don't know what the last part means, but that's funny.
Yeah,
I mean I get that Redford and Newman would put a butt in a seat, you know?
It's almost like a hypnotizing effect for some women.
Yeah.
And some men. But like to have
I mean for me too.
Oh, I know. You confessed your Kinsey scale went up.
Oh yeah. Off
like
the
shot
charts.
Up like 4 or 5 notches.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean there's probably some weird subconscious hypnotizing that goes on when you see those two guys.
Oh yeah. They probably could only do 2 movies together, otherwise the world would have just like shut down.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was for capitalism. Capitalism got in the way. That's what did it. The capitalists all got together and told us that we couldn't have any more fucking Redford and Newman movies because the economy would have collapsed.
I mean, everybody knows that. Everybody knows that story.
Yeah.
Which is why they were kept apart.
Uh-huh.
It just broke the whole system.
Yeah. It's bullshit.
Bullshit.
One more reason that capitalism sucks.
Yeah. We don't need one more reason.
Yeah. After listening to the main event, Mobius 13 said most of the movies on Unkind Rewind are awkward at best or downright terrible at worst upon rewatch. But that's certainly not the case this week. Super fun rewatch and discussion of The Sting whilst going down more than one rabbit hole or two. R.I.P. Robert Redford. And then he also added, when he saw the length of this week's podcast, he was concerned. How do you spend 2+ hours on a film that's almost 10 out of 10 no notes? You guys really pulled it off, a lot of fun, and even learned a thing or two. Forrest was maybe the perfect guest for this type of show.
Yeah, Forrest just kind of a vault of movie.
Yeah, wealth of knowledge.
Yeah. Tidbits.
Also, to like sort of offshoot. Sorry, got a weird. San Diego signed some Chinese pitcher.
Oh, stop the presses. Jesus Christ. Thank God.
I got a weird prompt and then it was like, what? Anyway.
I turned my prompts off for the Unkind Rewind, Josh.
Well, this was the MLB app. I don't turn off the MLB app on my phone. It just like popped out of my corner of my. Anyway. Mobius 13 also said, doing my own Unkind Rewind this morning with a rewatch of the 1984 college comedy Up the Creek, featuring such 80s standouts as Stephen Furst, Tim Matheson, and Dan Monahan, with the lovely Jennifer Runyon as the romantic interest for Matheson's character.
I've never heard of this.
I haven't heard. I've probably seen it and haven't heard of it.
Which happens.
Yeah, Jennifer Runyon would have gotten my butt in the seat. You know who Jennifer Runyon is?
Mm-mm.
She was Gwendolyn Pierce on Charles in Charge.
Okay. I know character.
She's also in the cold open of, or the first scene with Bill Murray in Ghostbusters. She's the blonde.
Of course.
In the psychic ability.
Does she have allegations?
No, I don't believe so.
Against Bale?
No, that was Nicole Eggert.
Okay. I'm just wondering. Yeah, it probably doesn't stop with her.
No, but Nicole Eggert was the one who made allegations. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Good guy.
I think we've actually talked about that before, right?
Yeah.
With regards to Nicole Eggert specifically.
I
feel like we have, but maybe I'm just conflating real life conversations with.
We don't. Scott Baio's not welcome on the show.
No, Scott Baio can get fucked. And then Gopher Ball said, inspired by Unkind Rewind on the Newman Redford dynamic in The Sting, I wondered why Tom Hanks never had a Sundance to his Butch. Setting aside romantic interest, a different type of relationship, the best I could come up with were a volleyball, a dog, and John Candy and Splash and Volunteers.
I think Candy. Like, give him Candy.
But it's like Splash and
two
Volunteers.
Movies. It's 2 movies.
Yeah.
I mean, Pitt
Not the
and
same
Pitt.
dynamic,
We're saying
though.
Pitt and Clooney, though.
Well, as insofar as like team up buddy stuff is concerned,
As far as like, bastardized approximations of how we can get anywhere close to,
yeah, I mean that's got to be the team up, right?
Yeah.
I mean the Ocean's movies, Wolves. Feels like there's another I'm forgetting, but maybe that's it.
Maybe that's it. But that's 4 movies.
Yeah, that's 4. I mean, obviously, my dream casting, if we're remaking The Sting, was Crow and Gosling.
Yeah. And I think I was like, we're probably going to have to do a gender switch.
Yeah. Laura Faye Smith.
Laura Faye Smith. Just salt of the earth. Really great person. I mean, she's very successful, but obviously a lovely person.
Yeah, she's great. Really fun talk.
The movie that we have from her is definitely not The Sting.
It is not The Sting.
Nor close.
No, I don't think it did quite the box office that The Sting did.
No, I don't think it has the accolades.
Yeah. Not that it's good or bad or terrible, like not that it's bad or terrible necessarily, but
No.
It does not have the reputation that The Sting does.
I mean, I guess technically no. Just to be safe, we can say no.
I believe that neither Sean nor I had ever heard of this movie.
Nope. This is one of those ones that I think she was surprised that we hadn't heard of.
Yes.
And
I think we were surprised that anyone had heard of it.
Right. So this is for... Whereas The Sting was for everybody, this movie's for no one.
It'll also be very hard to search for this movie.
Yeah, is it on Archive or anything like that? Did you look into that?
Shit. Let me look real fast.
It might be, or it might be like... It definitely has that feeling of...
It's definitely... You can VOD it because I was going to.
It's almost at that level, though, where it's like on YouTube, where you search it and the words full movie, and like suddenly it pops up.
Unfortunately, it's available VOD on YouTube.
Oh, bummer.
Or, no, that's facts. No, that's a review. Let me just... there is... You can find it on a Russian site. I can see it right now.
Okay.
You should have your ad blockers on.
Yeah, you will get a virus.
Yeah. For sure.
Probably worth it.
It is free on Hoopla, which is one of those library apps. So if your library is a participating library with Hoopla, you can go there. But yeah, Laura Faye Smith, this one's fun.
Yeah, fun episode, even though the movie was seen by one person.
Yeah, was seen by one person in
our guest
in Oregon. Well, one person and her mother.
Mm-hmm. In the 80s.
Yeah, in the 80s. Yeah.
Surprised it didn't do the box office that this thing did.
We're sort of underselling the movie because I think we both ultimately were not excited to watch it.
No, there's a lot of fun stuff to it. There's some pleasant surprises.
Yeah.
But there's
and there's a certain returning star that I think you and I are both pretty fond of.
Oh yeah, big time. I think you have, you know, I think she looms.
I have a very
larger
soft spot in my heart.
She looms a lot. She has a nook in your heart for sure.
Yeah. But yeah, anyway, Laura Faye Smith. Welcome, everybody, to another Q's and Tease installment of the Unkind Rewind. This week, we'll be getting to know our next guest, Laura Faye Smith, actress extraordinaire. I'm Josh Dugan. As always, I am joined by my co-host, Sean McGrath. Sean, how are things?
Things are great. Excited for this one. Excited to be talking with Laura Faye Smith. And one of the better lists we've seen in some time.
I feel so honored.
It's really idiosyncratic.
It is very, it is quite unique.
Well,
I've not
welcome
seen
to
a
my
list like
taste.
this.
Oh, really?
It was, but we'll get into that.
I can't wait.
Yes.
I was
Okay.
actually, because I sent the list and I didn't hear from you guys for a few days, and I'm like, I wonder if they just think it sucks. And they're like, we don't want to watch any of these. She has terrible taste in movies. I wondered if that's where things were.
The silence meant deliberation.
Yeah. So, Laura Faye, why don't you tell the audience at home a little bit about yourself?
I am an actress. I lived in the Pacific Northwest for years, where I knew and performed with Sean. And then about 7 years ago, I moved to Los Angeles. I live here now. I love it. I do everything. Like in Portland, my main job was theater, but then I did some like film and TV stuff, lots of commercial work, lots of industrial work, because that is what is mostly happening there. And then I moved down here, and it's just been such a great adventure. Like, there's so much like film and TV, commercial. I do dubbing now. The voiceover video game industry is happening a lot more here. Like, that's if someone kind of maybe knows who I am, it's probably from my work in voiceover, I would say, like, because I'm the voice of Princess Rosalina for Nintendo, for the Mario games. I'm Noelle in Genshin Impact, which is another pretty popular game if you're a gamer. And I did the male Kana in Fire Emblem Fates for Nintendo. But in Portland, I did TV. I did like Grimm and Leverage, and then just lots of live theater. But that's just kind of been my history. Like, I'm a full-time actor here in LA, and I absolutely love it.
Nice.
She even did radio vaudeville for a long time.
Oh yes, that's how I know Sean. Is like we worked on a show in Portland called Livewire together, and he wrote for that and performed in that.
Now, Josh isn't the biggest gamer in the world, but
Okay.
Josh, you would admit that, right?
I am not the biggest gamer in the world. I'm far
You know
from
what?
it.
Me neither. Actually,
Sure.
I'm not.
But
Have you
Yeah.
played as yourself, or can you play as yourself?
So I am so bad at Genshin Impact, because Genshin Impact is an open world game. So it's
Okay.
not like Mario Kart where you go around the track and you win or you lose. Like, you've got to kind of explore and figure out what to do. So the game is free. You can just download it on your phone. And I was like, okay, I'll play and I'll unlock my character, because you have to like unlock them. You have to do well. I was like, why do people enjoy this? I ran around on that beach for, I'm not kidding, like 20 minutes watching my life force just ebb away, swimming, running. I'm like, what am I supposed to do? And then I finally noticed a compass in the top part of the screen, and I was like, oh, follow the compass. And then you finally get to the town and interesting things happen. But then again, like, if you're trying to like shoot out a bunch of thorns guarding a temple, like, I didn't know how to do it. It doesn't tell you what thing to do when you've got
I
all
mean,
these...
not in the game. You know how to do that in real life, but
in
not,
real
like-
life, I'd have been in there in 5
Yeah,
seconds.
yeah.
But yeah, no, in the game. So I was just like, I was so bad at it. But thankfully, there are gamers who would like had contacted me and said, we're going to do a playthrough of Noelle's Hangout on Genshin. this Zach Aguilar, who's a gamer and a voice in the game as well. And so I was able to go on his like Discord and watch him play as me because I couldn't unlock myself.
Okay.
And then yeah, I don't own a gaming system anymore. I mean, I have like a little DS Lite.
Sure.
But I'm a full-time actor. I'm hustling for work all the time. Like my evenings are spent like doing self-tapes and auditioning and recording voiceover auditions and sometimes working, like just actually being on set and working. And I don't have a lot of time for that. So no, I don't play my own games a lot.
Does it feel good though to know that your avatar like never sleeps and she's just out there, like say in the Mario universe, that Rosalina is just kind of existing in many homes kind of around the world?
Well, you know, it's funny. Lori Ferraro, who you had on for your Urban Cowboy episode, that's my best friend, and her kids would like play it, and she'd say, "Oh, I'd be like in the room, and all of a sudden I'd hear you, like, talking, going, here we go." And she said, she goes, her kids would say, "I'm going to play as Aunt Laura instead of I'm
Right.
going to play as Princess Rosalina," which I think is funny.
Well, that makes 2 out of 3 people here have been created as a video game character. Because I've done some work in the Grand Theft Auto.
Did you really?
For Rockstar, yeah. You can actually kill me.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
When did that happen? Were you in New York or were you in Portland?
Yeah, I was here. Maybe like 2018 or something like that.
Okay.
I play
Sounds
a character
about right.
named Avon Hertz, who's
Very
a
cool.
kind of an Elon Muskian bad guy who
Nice.
eventually escapes in a jetpack that you have to chase down and missile to death.
So you did play as your character.
So I'm not a playable character. You have to actually defeat me.
Okay.
Yeah.
So have you killed yourself?
Yeah, I killed myself a couple times. But yeah, a lot of time spent with death screams.
Got it.
Josh, we're still waiting on you. I hope you don't feel too bad.
I have been immortalized as myself in a video game, Sean.
Oh, and what video game is that?
That SVU role playing game. Adam and I are in it. It's like a retro. Yeah, it's a whole thing.
Okay, so Josh's podcast on the side is a podcast about Law and Order SVU.
Oh, really? Oh, that's great. Very cool.
We were just
name dropped
on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire pretty randomly.
Wow. That's
We're
a
not
badge of honor.
We are not of the level that we should be getting name dropped on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. It was pretty shocking, frankly. But back to you. So when you're recording, is it usually stuff that you're recording, like when you're doing VO work? Are you recording like in a closet, or are you going to, like when you're doing the Nintendo stuff, are you going to a studio?
It depends on what it is. Yeah, Nintendo, I go into studio for that. Genshin, I go into studio for that. I do audiobooks, and I do those in my closet.
Okay.
Like that's something I just record from home. Yeah, most things I try to go in because I, live in an apartment building and there's neighbor noise. So is it possible? Yeah, is my preference. No, and I'm an actor. I trained to do that. I didn't train to be an engineer. So that whole tech thing of like, could you do this and that with your gain? I'm like, oh my God, there are people out there who actually studied that and are good at that. That is
audio
not me.
engineers.
Yeah, you don't want me in charge of that. I'm not good at
right.
it. So let them do that.
Gain's a detergent to us.
It what?
Gain is just a detergent.
A detergent, exactly. Like I'm good at that. I can do your laundry. So.
Well, fortunately for this one, you won't have to do anything.
Good.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just have to be on mic. Yeah.
That's what I'm good at.
So, what would you describe your childhood as having been like?
I had a great childhood. I mean, maybe first and foremost, credit goes to I have just a fantastic older sister who was the best playmate you could ever ask for. And like what was so great about her and still is she is interested in everything. Like you talked about my list being eclectic. Like I think some of my taste was so influenced by her because she was an avid reader. Like she learned to read, she taught herself to read like before she was in preschool, anything. My parents were like, she's not really reading because she would read these books that they got her. She memorized it. So they'd buy her a new one and then she would read that to them. And they're like, oh, she's reading. So I think someone who like was so curious about everything. Like if you looked at our coffee table when I was growing up, she would have books like science fiction, J.R.R. Tolkien type stuff mixed with like Sweet Valley High type of, just like typical teen type things. And then I remember there'd be like a book about like rape by Susan Brown Miller. I mean, like a nonfiction, weird, like, why are you reading that? But that would be like, if you just were like picking stuff up to read in our house, it was everywhere. My dad was the same way. Um, so childhood was really fun because she read a lot, so she had a great imagination. And we were heavily influenced by anything we were reading or watching in terms of like how and what we played. Like we were watching tons of soap operas. And I remember my very religious grandmother on my dad's side was just mortified when she would hear us play because our dolls weren't like, here's a mother with a baby. It was like evil twins, people having affairs, people
Sure.
locking each other in basements, like all this like really intense like storyline type stuff. And I know that was like just like she was the ringleader for that whole thing, but it made growing up really fun. We lived out in the country. My parents always said, if you're a kid for such a short period of time, enjoy your childhood, don't grow up too fast. They really wanted us to like have that. My mom was a full-time mom. My dad worked, so we didn't have money, but we lived out in the country with like in this neighborhood with a lot of other kids. And so it was very much this like, that whole thing people talk about of like you ride your bikes all day and you come home when it gets dark. And we played, there's acreage, in our neighborhood, and we would just play the length of all this acreage of all the families that lived on one side of this street. But you're talking like several acres of land, and riding our bikes for our cars, and just really great summers, and parents who really just were just very supportive of us playing and being imaginative and kind of just great. I mean, I don't really have any like trauma or escape stories to tell about that kind of stuff. We were a close family. I have really nice parents. Yeah, it was good. Not to sound too Pollyanna, but I would be like making up drama if I said that it wasn't as nice as it was.
Sure.
You may have
Was-
got tricked into painting a fence, but that was about it.
Yeah. But I will say we watched a lot of movies together as a family because my dad was really into tech, and he worked for this company called the Shutterbug. Like he didn't work for them, but he went and did consulting work for them. And instead of getting paid, he did like tech consulting work to get a Super 8 camera and a VCR. So we had a VCR long before a lot of other people did. And I
Nice.
remember when you would first go in and rent movies, there was only one place in town you could rent movies, and it was this place called Futech in downtown Salem, Oregon. And the movies were not even out, like the boxes weren't even out where you could touch them. They were all on rows behind this counter on shelves, and you would just have to like point and look. And the kids section was like 5 movies big, and then there was just lots of older movies. And I would stand there with my mom who loves movies, and I would be like, can we rent Woodstock? And she's like, it's a concert. No, you're going to be bored. We're not renting that. And I'm like, what about the first nudie musical? And she's like, no, I mean, it would be these old, weird, random titles. But um, I remember when they finally took the boxes off the shelves and then you could like pick them up and read them. And I remember reading, just poring over the boxes of like Rosemary's Baby and like, like the horror section. I would be like really fascinated with that. And then just seeing a lot of really weird eclectic movies because of what was available, because we did go see movies in the theater, but we were not wealthy enough to go very often. Like that was a
Sure.
treat. That was a big deal. And if you did that like once in a month, you weren't going to anything again that month.
Right.
So we rented a lot of movies and we watched a lot of movies, and my mom taped tons of movies off television for us.
So you guys had cable then too, or
No, we
okay,
were
this
way.
was broadcast. Okay.
It was a lot of made-for-TV movies. When I was trying to come up with this list, there were a lot of movies I remembered, and I looked them up. I'm like, that was a made-for-TV movie, so I don't think that one counts. But I'm telling you, we like watched a ton of like Sally Struthers as an abused wife, or
Sure.
movies like This
And
House.
Jillian as a yeah.
Yes, yeah. We watched so much of that, and I have to tell you, the only thing better than watching kind of a bad B movie with my mom was the fact that we would have to go to bed at like 8:30 or whatever. So we would watch up till we had to go to bed, like literally doing, teeth brushing in between commercial breaks and just getting fully in the pajamas and there, like watching until we had to be cut off. And then while we ate breakfast in the morning, she would tell us how it ended, but she had taped it for us. So we were going to come home and watch it after school. But my mother's retelling of a movie with all her commentary was way better than watching it. Like it was just like, I just remember eating cereal and her being like, and then and she would kind of like be mocking of it because we were watching trash, but we watched soaps
Sure.
too. We loved our trash. So
Could your brain have maybe filled in the gaps in such a way that maybe you think you've seen the end of a movie, but it actually was just the vivid imagination from your mom's retelling?
entirely possible, but I think we always would then come home and finish watching it. Like I think it was
Okay.
rare that we didn't watch it, but I almost remember her retellings more than the actual movies for sure
Gotcha.
because they were funny. Because she
Yeah.
was very funny. So
What were your soaps?
I when I was a kid, so I had, for whatever reason, in like third grade, I kept getting like strep throat and tonsillitis back to back. I don't know why. But I remember I started watching soaps because I was home during the day, sick a lot that year. And I started watching All My Children.
Okay.
And then my mom was working that year, so she wasn't there half day in the summer. We were in grade school, but it was the time where they like just left you home. And so my sister and I would watch the whole ABC lineup of soaps
Sure.
from morning
One Life to
until
Live to General Hospital. Yeah.
Edge of Night to Ryan's Hope to All My Children. One Life to Live, somewhere in there, the news came on to General Hospital, and then
Okay.
it like switched to cartoons, I think, in the afternoon at that point. But
So
yeah,
they used to have a 5-hour block.
it was yeah, but the news was an hour in there as well. So
Yeah, yeah.
we would go swim in the pool and eat lunch for an hour and then come back and finish watching the rest of our soaps. And I could have told you the plot lines of any one of those. And funny true story, my first TV job was working on Leverage, and it was directed by Jonathan Frakes.
Nice.
And he's married to Jeannie Francis, who played Laura on General Hospital,
Okay.
of the Luke and Laura stuff.
Yeah.
And I remember when I met him, I was like, um, I just want you, I'm a really big Jeannie Francis fan. And he was like, I'm married to Jeannie Francis. And I'm like, I know, like I wouldn't just randomly walk up and tell anybody that. Like I know, like that's your wife. And he was
He's
like,
probably so used to everyone coming up and talking about him being Riker.
well, here's the
Star Trek: The Next Generation stuff.
well, so then he's like, well, and then I said, and then I even watched her when she did Bare Essence because that was like a nighttime soap she switched to. She left GH for a while to do that. And he was like, I was on that. And I said, oh, I don't remember you on that. I remember her, but I don't remember you. And he goes, well, okay. And then he goes, well, are you named for her? And I said, no, I'm actually named for Laura on another soap, Love is a Many Splendored Thing, that played, that my mom was watching. And Donna Mills played Laura Siegel, and she thought she was really beautiful. So she named me Laura because of that. And he was like, well, I worked on Donna Mills on this show. And I was like, yeah, I didn't see you in that. And all day he kept coming up to me and telling me other projects that he had done that I might have seen. And I'm like, yeah, I don't remember you from any of those. He was the nicest guy. And I mean, it was a joke, he wasn't like, I think.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
But I was like, yeah, I remember Jeannie Francis. I don't remember you in any of these things. But yeah.
Sean, did you work with Frakes too?
Yeah. I
Okay.
could have worked with Frakes earlier, but I was sabotaged by my scene partner in the callback where I won't name
This
drop
was not
because
Laura Faye.
it was not
No.
Laura Faye, but
Okay,
Laura
just
Faye
want to make
knows.
sure. Just want to make sure.
Do I know
Laura
who
Faye
it is?
knows this name. Yeah. I'll text
Yeah,
you who it is later.
text me. I want to know.
But we had a callback. It was a good role. Funny role.
Was this for
And
Leverage?
It was for Leverage. He's in the room with the casting director, Lana. And at the end of our audition, he says, thanks, guys. That was great. And my scene partner then says, I hate to do this, but is there any way we could get a picture? To Frakes in the room before being cast, right? Like this should have been all business. And I felt so guilty by association because I'm kind of like doing that thing where I'm like leaving, waving goodbye. And yet I felt kind of trapped. He was between me and the door. So it felt weird just to kind of like duck. Like what I wanted to do was like jump out a window. But as you know, like that room doesn't have any windows.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I just kind of felt rooted deer in headlights as this guy really just saboed his shot at
Jesus.
being booked
And yours.
and mine. And I could see the eyes of the casting director widen to like squid size as she saw like just a really kind of Bush League move. I mean, for all fellow actors out there who are in a position, do not ask for any type of autograph, personal little memento, photo with somebody in casting who might be famous.
Yeah.
Just a really kind of gauche move.
Yeah.
And I knew kind of as I left that I was not going to. I mean, it's a hard thing because the two characters need to have chemistry together. I think they're playing brothers. They need to have a good rapport. There's a lot of like kind of riffing between them, and I knew that I was damned. So anyway, but I did eventually work with Frakes. And funny story, I met Frakes in New York at a restaurant.
And you asked him for a photo, and he was like, "Please just take my order and leave me the hell alone."
Yeah, exactly. I thankfully wasn't serving. I was having dinner with my father and a friend, and I recognized him. The owner of the restaurant came by, who knew my dad. They were talking, and I said, the guy at the end of the bar there with some friends is, do you know who that is? And he's like, no. I said, that's Jonathan Frakes, blah, blah, blah. 10 minutes goes by. I see the owner walk down, who was kind of a social butterfly, right? This kind of owner. He kind of had that kind of old Copacabana, Maitre d' kind of vibe to him. So they talk, and then Frakes comes up to my table and says, okay, so who do I know here? And I reminded him that I had worked with him on an episode of Leverage, and, we talked a little bit about that, talked a little bit about Portland, and sent him on his merry way. And my father's friend, when we were kind of wrapping up, said, oh, look, they're leaving. You should go, get a photo with him. And I was like, I don't know. And she's like, no, this is how you do it. This is how you schmooze. And, we did have we were talking about a mutual friend who was also in New York at the time. So I was like, okay, maybe I could just whatever. So I went up, and as they were kind of leaving, I said, hey, Mr. Frakes, do you mind if I get a photo and I can send it to our mutual friend? Which is, just a kind of a bullshit excuse, but whatever. He's like, yeah, sure. And I gave my camera or my phone to the friend, one of his friends that he was having dinner with. And as I did, I went, oh, hi, LeVar Burton.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
That's so funny.
So LeVar Burton took the photo of me and Jonathan Frakes, and
Did you give him a photo credit?
Of course. But I said to LeVar Burton, I have a funny story about you. And again, this is going way off topic, but real quick. Yeah. LeVar Burton was the celebrity guest that paired with my mother on $10,000 Pyramid.
Your mom was on that show?
Yes.
Nice. Did she win?
She didn't, but it wasn't because of LeVar Burton, who was a prodigy on that show.
It was all Debbie's fault.
Yeah. She got paired with an actress named, I believe, Lois Nettleton.
Who tried to take a picture with LeVar Burton, and
yeah.
Is this generational trauma, Sean?
This is really bad. But here's the funny part about that story, is that I told LeVar Burton quickly about my mom being on Celebrity, about Pyramid with him. And he goes, well, here's what you tell your mom. Tell your mom that I often saw the smartest person on that show not make it to the final round. And I looked at him and I went, fuck. Would you mind telling her that? And he gave me a second pause, and he said, okay. And so right then and there, I called my mom and closed like a 40-year-old loop that she had been kicking herself for years. And
That's
had LeVar
amazing.
Burton talk to her about Pyramid, and he just walked down 42nd with my phone, just rapping with my mother about who knows what, while Jonathan Frakes and I talked. And then as he came back, he was like, okay, all right, okay, Debbie, love you too. Oh, God.
That's amazing.
So then my mom, I guess, had told LeVar Burton, who told me, he's like, she wants a picture with us because she doesn't believe you. So then Jonathan, anyway, long story short, we're all connected to Jonathan Frakes somehow.
Woohoo.
Okay, so looking at your list, Laura Faye,
yes.
You submitted Kramer versus Kramer,
Hmm.
Coma, which I had to look up.
I was obsessed with that movie. Obsessed.
I'm going to ask you about that in a second. Night Shift, which we were actually just talking about on mic in, two episodes ago, Sean and I were. Looker, The Sure Thing, Author, Black Widow, Tootsie, Lady Beware, and Murder by Death.
Yes.
Okay, what's you watched Coma a lot? What's
Oh my
up with
God.
that?
I don't know why I was so into that movie. I didn't see it in a theater. I was too young. But they had taped it off TV. My parents had.
Mhm.
And I was like, this is the best. Like, I loved it. I was just like, it's, suspense. It's a really young Michael Douglas and Genevieve Bujold. And it's a Michael Crichton novel.
Yeah,
I
and
didn't
he
know that at
directed
the,
it.
yeah, I didn't know that at the time, but I was just like obsessed with this story. She was really smart. I remember that she was so smart. She was kind of like, she's a surgeon, she's super independent, and then she's like figuring out this thing that's happening. She has like a friend die, goes in for like an abortion, like a D&C, and they're basically people, healthy, normal people are going in for surgeries and going into comas, and it's all happening in this one operating room, and then it's all connected to like organs on the black market
Okay.
type of thing. But what I remember so much about that movie is that it'd been taped on the VCR. It had commercials in it because it'd been taped off TV. It had been edited for television. And then someone in our house taped over half of it. And I still would watch the last half. And I can still, when I think of the movie, I think of the commercial breaks coming up, and that I would like that scene would happen, and then it would cut to this specific Kodak commercial. And then this is I knew everything because I had seen it so many times. Like Coma and Grease are probably the two movies I've seen the most in my life, just by sheer amount of time that I've seen them. But I haven't seen it in years, but I actually own a copy of it that I think I've never actually opened again and watched because I remember when I like moved out, I took that videotape with the half of Coma still on it and like took it with me, had it for years. And then when I no longer had a VCR, I was like, oh, I should go buy some of these movies that I only had on VHS tape. And Coma was one of them. So I think I have it and just haven't watched it forever. But that was a movie I just was crazy about.
It's going to feel so unnatural to not have those commercials in it when you
I
go
know.
back and watch it.
I'm willing to bet there's things in that movie I've never seen because I was watching an edited for TV version.
Oh,
yeah.
of course.
So there's probably like sex and swearing and things that were not, even just time that they cut for time.
Michael Douglas does Full Frontal in that, right, Josh?
Does he?
Yeah, he hangs dong.
Did you watch it? Do you know?
I'm joking. I'm joking.
You gotta watch it. It's a great movie. It's great.
I watched all kinds of stuff.
I was way too young for it, though. Like when I was watching it, I was too young to be watching that movie.
That's what struck me about your list is The Sure Thing is probably and Tootsie are the only things that like were those are movies that a younger person would watch.
Well, let me tell you one of the reasons for this. So my mom loved watching movies. My dad much less so. So when my mom basically recruited me and my sister to be her movie watching buddy, she didn't want to watch a movie by herself. She wanted to watch it with us, which is why she would tape these things and like we would start watching them with her. And I remember there's a movie called The Seduction with Morgan Fairchild. It's pretty adult. And I remember my dad getting really pissed at her for letting us watch that. He's like, why are you letting him watch this violent shit? And I remember being like, we were like, Dad watches war documentaries. Those are so violent. He'll watch anything about World War II, but we can't watch a movie about Morgan Fairchild being stalked. Like, that's so weird. But we were too young for it. And my mom just being like, well, you won't watch it with me. So what am I supposed to do? So she would say to me, especially when I was in high school, she'd go, hey, because we finally got cable. At some point, cable came to our neighborhood, but I was like in later high school. And I remember she'd go, there's a movie on tonight I want to watch. Like Black Widow was one of these. She goes, I want to watch Black Widow. And I'm like, I have to write a paper. She goes, if you write it out longhand, I will type it for you so we can watch that movie together. Mm-hmm. So she would like do stuff like that. Like she would be like, how can I help you get all your homework done? Not doing it for me, but like, I'll type your paper for you if you will watch this movie with me tonight. So a lot of that was driven by her wanting movie companions. And I was like.
And do you think the impetus for having children was a husband that wasn't big on movies?
Maybe she just needed friends. Maybe she was like, "Oh my God, he's not going to ever live up to my cinema dreams. So let me have a couple kids, and hopefully one of them will comply." And then I did.
Yeah.
Is she pumped that you're an actress?
You know, she was real. My sister was an actress first. Like my sister did theater when we were in school, and then I
What was the
followed
age gap? Sorry.
2 years.
Okay.
So I had like this. I remember I wanted to be like a cheerleader and do that whole thing, and then I remember I was in like eighth grade and my sister was a sophomore and she was doing, or like seventh grade even. She started in her freshman year. And my mom would pick me up from the middle school and it was just across the tracks from the high school. And we would go see the end of play rehearsal and I was just like fascinated with it. And then I remember going to see the play my sister was in, any play she was in, I would go see it every single night because I was fascinated by the fact it was a little different every night because I'd never really seen live theater. So suddenly I was like, wait, it's not always the same and people make mistakes and they cover them and what? And then I was getting ready to do the rally tryouts, and my mom said, "Can you wait a year?" She was having surgery, and she goes, "We lived really far out in the country." She goes, "Your sister doesn't drive, your dad has to work. I won't be able to drive for a little bit. Can you wait a year to audition to try out?" You don't audition for cheerleading, you try out. And so I waited, and then that year I auditioned for a play, and then that was it. Like I was like, "This is all I want to do." But it was because of my sister doing it, I got interested in it.
What was
Uh,
that play
that my sister did or that I did.
that you did?
It was A Murder is Announced by Agatha Christie. I played Julia Swetnam, and I still to this day remember what I was wearing, my opening line, what the theater smelled like, looked like. We had an old school theater with asbestos curtains, I'm sure, that they like raised up from the floor. They didn't like draw from the sides. They like would, it was like a curtain up type thing. And I can still like remember that moment and just being like, oh, this is what I want to do. Like the most clarity I ever had as a young person of what I wanted was that moment.
Is that when the cheerleading dream died?
Yeah. Yeah, I never looked back. I remember I wouldn't watch the tryouts when I couldn't do them. And I remember one of the judges going, "Why didn't you try out? You had my vote." And I was like, because I was so like, ah. And then just never, once I started doing theater, never thought about doing it again, never cared. But you asked me something about them so they loved it when I was in high school. And then when I was getting serious about it, like maybe I wanted like do this for a career, they were instantly like, "No, that's a terrible idea. You
Go
can
back to
do
cheerleading.
go like get a nice job with the state, meet a nice man, have some nice kids. Um, this is terrible. You'll end up, living in a box under a bridge, and this is a bad idea." So they refused to pay for my education if I majored in theater. So I double majored in English and theater. And when I was doing plays in Portland, they did not come see me work because they don't like driving. They were scared of
Yeah.
the traffic. So like they saw almost nothing that I did when I lived in Portland. And they were like, "Tell us when you're on TV." So they watched Grim and Leverage
Okay.
and commercials if I showed up in a commercial. But my
Now,
mom, go ahead.
oh, go for it. Go for it.
No, I was gonna say like she had said like and she thought she was even like worried about me moving to LA. Um, and then she's since been like, "I'm really proud of you that you've gone down there and haven't I think called and asked."
Despite us,
Right. Despite the fact no one thought it was
that your
gonna be
parents
okay.
weren't supportive.
Right, right. I mean, they were supportive. They were supportive of me as a person, but I think I cut them a lot of slack. They had no examples of what a working actor's life was.
Yeah.
They never thought about all the other people in a movie who aren't the lead. They were like, "You are Julia Roberts or you are not." That's it. Those are
Right.
the two extremes. And I think it was hard for them to conceive of like, well, how would you survive if you're not a famous movie star? And very few people achieve that. Like they weren't thinking about the fact like you can have a non-famous working actor career and it can be just fine.
Yeah. So Kramer versus Kramer is on your list, which is funny to me. Was this was this your mom sending a message to your dad, or
No.
what's going on here?
Okay, so here's my Kramer versus Kramer story, and I'm actually a little puzzled by my memory on this because I'll tell you the story I remember, but then I'll tell you
Sure.
why I'm questioning my own memory right now. So I remember my mom really wanting to see that movie as a family. We were going to go see it. It had won the Oscar, we'd heard about it, so we're going. And I think my dad was really dragging his feet, going, I do not want to watch a movie about a custody battle. This sounds awful. So when we got to the theater, Raiders of the Lost Ark was playing at the same theater. And my sister's like, oh, Raiders of the Lost Ark. And he was like, I can take you to see that. And Mom and Laura can go see Kramer versus Kramer. And my mom was like, Carl. And he was like, and Lisa was so excited that we did it. Like they went and saw that. And so we go see that. We come out, we're sitting there like sniffling after the movie and just like, oh my God, that was so good. And my sister and dad come bursting out of their theater. Like they got out like a few minutes after we did, like, maybe 10 minutes. And my sister's like, da 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 da. And she's like singing the theme. They're like, that was amazing. And the energy on the car ride home was just like, it could not have been more different because my mom and I were just so like, huh. But here's why I'm questioning it. Those movies came out kind of far apart. So I'm like, how did we see them in the theater at the same time unless Kramer versus Kramer was somehow being rerun? Because Kramer versus Kramer came out in like December of 79. I looked it up because I was like confused about that when I was making this list and I saw the dates were like 79 to 81. So it basically came out 1980 because it was like late December. But Raiders of the Lost Ark was like June of 81. So it was like a year and a half later. So how were we in a theater seeing both those movies? But that's my memory. And I actually looked to see, was there another sad drama that was a big deal at the time? And I'm mistaking the Kramer versus Kramer because I know for sure the Raiders of the Lost Ark part is correct. But all I'm wondering is if maybe that theater reran it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's possible.
Because that doesn't make sense. There was such a big gap of time.
It's possible, though, before we kind of get into the golden age of VHS, that movies were run in theaters more often, say revivals, because there just wasn't the opportunity to have the home video experience.
Probably. And maybe that's what it was. And we hadn't seen it the first time around, which wouldn't have been surprising because we weren't wealthy, movies were a big deal. That was expensive to go do that for us. So I wonder if
was this movie theater that you're talking about one that did play revivals or did play older movies ever?
No, it was like the
First
Lancaster. I think it had to have been like Lancaster Mall because the Elsinore and the Capitol were these other movie theaters like where you could go see a movie. Like I remember seeing like the Star Wars movies at like Elsinore, but they only
single
had screens, like with a balcony, like they were old theaters. So the only multiplex was had 4 screens, and that was at Lancaster Mall, and that had to have been where we were because I don't think there was anywhere else in town with more than 1 screen.
We'll get to the bottom of it.
Yeah, you would have to literally like look up the movie listings in the town
but
newspaper.
that's the reason you come on this show.
Yeah. So yeah, that's what I remember about seeing it. But I remember loving that movie, and I feel like there was some kind of learn all about you and your friends type of like fill in the blank book. And I remember listing like Kramer versus Kramer is my favorite movie, and Dustin Hoffman is my favorite actor. But I haven't seen that movie since I was a kid. I don't even, maybe it came on TV later in the 80s, but I don't think I've seen it since then. Yeah. And I bet it would stand the test of time. I'm sure I would still think that was a well acted movie. I do remember lots of things about it, like lots of scenes really stuck with me from that movie, like moments in it.
Well, we're not going to find out if it held up this time.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah. So, do you have any guesses as to what you think we're going with? There's usually not a rhyme or reason to what Sean and I choose.
My guess would be you'd go with something you guys felt like watching again off that list. I can guess there's going to be some definitely that won't age well. In Murder by Death, isn't there like a case of someone playing like a Caucasian actor playing an Asian character in that?
I don't know.
I think there is.
I mean, that would be hilarious.
I think but Truman Capote's in that. Like that cast is incredible.
Yeah.
And we watched that movie. So many of the movies on these lists are movies like I remember, like we would quote those movies a lot. Like there's scenes and phrases from those movies we would like quote growing up.
Were you the only ones quoting, author or?
Be the one on that list I have the fuzziest memories of, but I really remember a scene in that where his kid gets ready for the premiere of the play and he comes out and he's like, what do you think? And he couldn't help but, looks at him and he goes, Geraldo, you look like a pimp. Like, I just remember him like saying that. Yeah, that's kind of what I remember of that one. But my memory of even the full. Oh shoot, are you guys still there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did I just do? Hang on. You
We
guys
still
went
see
away.
you.
We got you.
I went away visually. How did I do that? I accidentally active. Oh, there you guys are.
Hi.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
Hello.
I'm back. I tapped something and then it just brought up like this other
Yeah,
screen.
I've lost the Zoom window before, and it took me like 5
It's-
minutes to find it.
Panicking.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to. What are the other movies we haven't said?
Well,
Okay,
let's just cut to
so-
the chase.
Okay.
Yeah. So we are going to watch Black Widow.
That's the movie. My mom was like, I'll type the paper so we can watch. Oh, I just told you that story. Never mind.
Yeah.
But
Um,
we were having to sit on our hands a little bit when you brought that up.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
it was great that it was like that weird memory.
This is an amazing list. I mean, a lot of these movies I had to like go down to the library and like look up with an archivist because they are not like the well-worn territory big movies that people saw a lot, that was just constantly on rotation in people's lives, that we see time and time again.
That were
on
owing to the
people's lists.
HBO programmer or
Right.
the TBS program.
Well, we didn't have it. That's
Yeah,
probably why,
yeah.
because we had to literally just go with whatever like the broadcasting was like doing.
Or down at Foodtech or whatever that place was called.
Future Tech. It was Future Tech, I think. Future Tech.
When did you get your first like real video store? And like, what was that? When did Foodtech?
Future Tech. I think it was Future Tech. I'm probably saying it
okay.
wrong.
When did Future Tech get eaten by a Blockbuster or a Tidal Wave or a?
I don't remember. I mean, I certainly remember Blockbuster and Hollywood Video and going to those, and I would always be like, "We're going to get a scary movie," and then I would read the backs of those boxes and scare myself and go, "What about a comedy?" And like totally chicken out.
Or see the terrible image on the box art.
Oh yeah, and so many movies I remember, because I would just ask my mom because she'd seen so many, especially horror movies. I would be like, "What's this one about? What's that one about?" And I'm not actually a horror movie fan, but I have seen a tremendous amount of like 70s, early 80s horror movies because of her, but more like probably suspense thriller than like anything slash gore type stuff. I don't really remember when that first happened because again, we were renting movies long before a lot of people I knew were renting movies. We were renting movies all the time and then taping lots of movies. In fact, are we running out of time? Because I do have like a story about a movie, like we had taped. There's a movie that I wanted to put this on the list, but I've seen it way too recently because I showed it to someone.
Mm-hmm.
There's a movie called The Last of Sheila. Do you know this movie? Knives Out is actually a revisit of that in a lot of ways.
There's a boat or something involved, right?
Yes, it was written by Anthony Perkins and Stephen Sondheim wrote this movie.
God.
Okay.
And Diane Cannon is in it, James Coburn, Joan Hackett, Richard Benjamin, Anthony Quinn, Raquel Welch, she's terrible in it, and James Mason. And they've all been invited to this boat because James Colburn's girlfriend was a gossip columnist named Sheila, and they've invited for this week on this boat down in the south of France, and they're playing this game, and he's going to make a movie about her life, and the more points you score in the game, the better billing you're going to get in the movie. She was killed by like a hit and run drunk driver, and so it turns into this kind of expose of the secrets of this group of people, and we had taped it off TV, and the TV guide had listed the time wrong. So it cut off the end where you actually figure out what happened. So there's this moment where James Mason is starting to kind of put some things together, and all of a sudden it just goes, and it like would cut out. We had to wait a whole year for that movie to come back on television, and we diligently because for a year we would just keep watching it and then guessing, giving our what do you think happened? What do you think happened? I remember when it finally came back, my parents put 2 extra hours on the tape time to just make sure it didn't cut off, and we finally saw it. And it still holds up. I still think it's a great movie. And
who was right?
I don't think
no spoilers.
I don't remember who
Well,
was
just
right.
like, did any of you figure out the ending? when you were hypothesizing in that year?
I don't
Okay.
remember. I don't remember now. And now that I've seen it so many times since then, like it's hard for me to
Sure.
remember when I didn't. But I highly recommend watching it if you can get your hands on it. It's not super hard to find, but
I'm pretty resourceful.
it's really good. And there's a book of there's a woman who is like a very famous casting director, Sue something, and there's a book about her life called Can I Hang Up Now? And the reason a lot of those people were in that movie was because she was the casting agent that she was an agent, not a casting agent. She was an agent.
Okay.
And she repped a lot of those people. Like Diane Cannon was with Cary Grant at that point, and that's how she ended up in that because she repped him. And it's all like super interesting to me. And Diane Cannon's character in that is a imitation of that agent, basically. Like she's doing an impersonation of her.
That's funny.
Yeah.
So memory can be a tricky thing.
Yes.
Having not rewatched Black Widow in ages, can you briefly, in like, maybe a minute or two, describe what you remember the basic plot of the film being?
Basic plot is Deborah Winger is some kind of, I don't know who she works for, the government in some way, but she gets interested in this woman, Teresa Russell's character, who has been marrying wealthy men and they've been dying. And her thought is that she's killing them. And she kind of floats this idea out there and everybody doubts her. So then she decides to take matters in her own hands and she goes down to Hawaii. She like figures out where she is now and she befriends her. And she's in, and it is true, like that is what's happening. And Teresa Russell's in the process of getting ready to marry this other guy. And Deborah Winger is like ends up kind of falling in love with him and trying to intervene. And then Teresa Russell frames her for it. And then, but it's a double frame in the end. Like that's what I remember the plot being.
Okay. So how old were you when Black Widow was a fixture for you?
Probably like 16, like, 15, 16.
What do you think
were
that this
like as a
was?
16-year-old?
Was this a one watch, or was this in the house? Was this on kind of repeat?
We watched it on Showtime, and then I think we taped it because we liked it so much. I remember in the very beginning of the movie, my mom turning to me and going, "Oh, this is going to be good." And because it was like a mystery suspense type thing, it was like these two, like female protagonists kind of trying to outwit each other. And then I think we taped it and then I watched it many times after that. And then how Showtime is where they would show the same movies and if it was on, we would be watching it. Like wherever it was, we would just pick up and watch it again.
So you've seen unlike some of the movies from the list, you've seen the like theatrical cut.
Yes, I've seen everything that's in that movie. Yeah.
Does Michael Douglas get naked in this?
No, and he doesn't even get murdered because he's not in it.
Oh, okay.
Do you remember who the husband is?
The guy, which one?
The guy, the object of the one that Teresa Russell's trying to kill.
He's. I know he's like he looks like he might be Latino. It's set in Hawaii. I don't know that he was Hawaiian, but I feel like he's like kind of Latino or. I remember he was like dark complected and swarthy and sexy. Yeah, but I don't remember who it was.
What do you think you were like at 16?
I was doing a lot of theater. I know that I liked movies as much for, like the story of it, but I at that point had become very interested in acting. So a lot of times I would get really interested in an actor's particular performance. Like I would get kind of like, I was starting at that point to notice how people behaved in movies, like how actors were behaving and like how they were playing a scene. Like that had become interesting to me. But I was definitely very theater obsessed. That was like kind of like my main thing that I was doing and that I was interested in, but very much a typical teenage girly girl in a lot of other ways.
Which character do you think you would have been more drawn to as a 16-year-old? The Deborah Winger character or the Teresa Russell character?
I was way more interested in the Teresa Russell character because she was like powerful and evil and mysterious. And I think to me, more interesting to play the villain than the good guy. Like,
were you aspiring to be Teresa Russell or just the role was more interesting?
The role was more interesting. Okay. Wasn't she like a B-movie queen prior to that or something?
Kind of. Didn't she? Well, yeah. She I know she was in what was that fucking
Did she do horror?
Movie?
Yeah, I think she did.
Yeah,
but this was the first thing I ever remember seeing her in.
Yeah.
And she every time she marries someone, she completely changes her look and her dialect
Okay.
and stuff. So I remember that being really interesting. Like she was like a Southern belle kind of in one. She went to Seattle and she was just like a lot more like intellectual. Um, and then when she's down in Hawaii, she's just kind of like glamorous and hot and
Teresa Russell.
Teresa Russell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When do you think the last time you saw this was?
I mean, it had to have been the 80s. Like,
Okay.
like I don't,
like
I
as
don't,
that teenager,
yeah,
like some point in high school.
definitely not as an adult. I don't think I've seen it since I was in high school.
But
I did see it a lot, so I remember a lot about it.
What do you think it was about Black Widow that appealed to your younger self?
I thought it was clever and smart. Again, I was obsessed with Coma. Like
Sure.
that, like a movie, like any kind of a movie with a mystery element to it. I was always pretty interested in.
Okay.
I think I was excited about the fact I didn't know where it was going. I didn't know how it was going to end. You kind of think it's going to end one way, and then there's a switch in it. And I remember thinking that was really exciting. I love being surprised by things. Like the biggest disappointment to me, even now when I see movies, is when I'm 3 steps ahead of it, and I'm
Yeah.
like, I know where this is
Sure.
going. I loved oh God, I'm forgetting the name. Um what was the movie Parasite when that
Yeah.
came out? Because I was like, I have no idea where this movie is going. Like that
Mhm.
to me is so exciting to watch as a movie. And I remember feeling that way about Black Widow because I'm like, I don't know who's going to win.
So Ronald Bass, the writer of this movie, also was the writer of Parasite, which is very strange.
Shut up.
No, but he does have a lot of credits.
Does anyone else? Oh, can you tell me what he wrote at this point or not?
We'll get to that.
Okay.
What expectations do you have for your return to Black Widow?
I I'm sure I'll enjoy it again. I remember enjoying it so much. I do remember a lot about it. I'm curious. I'm really interested to know what wasn't interesting to me the first time, like anything that kind of sticks out to me of like, how come I don't remember that? Like, why are my memories all focused over in this area because of my 16-year-old brain? Like,
Sure.
those were the things that stuck out to me. Um, I feel like too. Wasn't there kind of like some homoerotic kind of like she's obsessed with her to some degree. Like there's kind of a suggestion that Deborah Winger to some degree falls in love with her. But I feel like that's a realization I'm having more about it now than I was really thinking about at the time.
Okay.
So
We're not going to be able to verify that.
Yeah, neither Sean nor I have seen this.
Oh, you haven't? Oh
No.
my God, how exciting. Do you guys usually
Yeah.
pick something you haven't seen?
No, I
I
would
would-
say I don't think usually. Yeah, Josh has seen probably more than me, which is kind of an outstanding statement. But he has seen a lot of like dark web basically, but
Okay.
for the 80s, 70s and 80s and 90s. Like Josh has seen some really strange like B titles.
Okay.
Yes.
So it is a feather in your cap, Laura
Yes.
Faye, that you have that this movie was not only that you've seen it, but that this was something you've seen multiple times, made it onto your list. That for me, I haven't heard of.
Wow.
There are half of the movies on the list that I have not seen on yours,
What have you not seen?
which piques my interest. I have not seen Coma. I don't believe I've seen Looker.
Oh,
I
that's
haven't seen
good.
Author.
I have seen Author.
I have not seen Black Widow, and I haven't seen Murder by Death. I'm almost positive I've seen Lady Beware. I'm pretty sure I have, but I'm not.
You know what's
100%
interesting about that movie that I didn't know at the time, but it totally made sense later? One of the things I remember watching Lady Beware, it's Diane Lane, and she plays this kind of, eclectic window dresser. But I remember like liking her fashion. You know who designed the costumes for that?
No, I was going to take a guess, but
Pat Field. It was like
Okay.
early Carrie Bradshaw, who did, because Pat Field did Sex in the City. And I remember when I was like looking at Pat Field, I'm like, oh my God, she did Lady Beware. No wonder I like this. I remember being so aware of her clothing and stuff because it was this weird vintage modern mix of stuff. And then like that carried later. But that was a movie my sister and I used to quote all the time.
When
Lady
you
Beware.
gave us that pause to guess who designed Lady Beware, I was like, does she want us to say Bong Joon-ho?
No, I want you to say the dude who wrote Black Widow.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. Well, I would say for sure see Coma. It's
Yeah.
such a good movie. And then Looker is a really interesting movie if you've never seen
Okay.
that. And it's like, I mean, it's kind of about AI-ish type stuff to some degree. It's like, if I'm remembering right, it's like Albert Finney is a plastic surgeon and he's doing plastic surgery on these models and they keep dying. And so he
Okay.
kind of becomes aware of it. And it's like they'll come to him and be like, my nose is 2 centimeters too long and my eyes are 3 centimeters too far apart. And he like fixes them and then they end up dead. And so he starts looking
Were you
into
worried about going to the hospital as a youth?
No, no, I know, but I should have been, right? Based on
Yes.
Coma. Coma was a movie
Coma and Looker. You
Yeah, I
got
know.
two. You can't trust doctors.
I mean, honestly, I have actually, there's times I have thought about Coma when I've had to go in for surgery. Like I'm young and healthy, and that's like what was happening in comas. They were like picking young, healthy people to kill so they could traffic their organs. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get to them.
You guys have to watch those and then report
On
back.
a long enough timeline for this podcast, I'm sure that we'll get to these.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, but I'm so excited that you're gonna then see it. I mean, I can't attest that I think it's gonna be. It's not Kramer versus Kramer quality. I can guarantee it's not that. It's probably.
I'm probably going to enjoy Coma more than Kramer versus Kramer. I promise.
Coma won't depress you. It's not depressing. It's actually kind of exciting.
No, I love all of that weird like the weird like psychological dramas and thrillers from like the 80s and 70s. Like I watch a lot of stuff like
Yeah.
that. So
And that was so much of.
honestly, it's weird that I haven't seen them.
Yeah, no, I feel honored to have introduced you to a couple weird,
Yeah.
random movies.
So where can our audience find you, Laura Faye?
I'm mostly where I would post anything that, of like anything I'm doing or working on is Instagram, which is just my name, Laura Faye Smith. And the Faye is spelled Faye. So LauraFayeSmith, Instagram.
Nice.
Yeah.
Do you have anything upcoming to plug or?
I'm doing a few Comic Cons.
Okay.
Your audience, I'm guessing, is based around. Some of them haven't necessarily been announced, but I can tell you about a couple that have been. I'm going to be back in Portland, actually. Oh, but Sean, you're not there anymore. I still think of you as
I can make a trip for you, Laura.
just for Comic Con.
Laura Faye, if you want me to get over there for the Comic-Con and work security, I will.
I'm doing Chattanooga Comic Con the end of this month, the 27th and 28th. And I'm doing Retrofest Arkansas, October 11th and 12th.
Okay.
Portland Retro Gaming Expo is like the 17th, 18th, 19th. That's what I got coming up at the moment.
And these are kind of like meet and greets and signing stuff and hanging out.
It's exactly that. Yeah. Like just, meeting people. And then if you're into verticals, I'm doing tons and tons of verticals right now.
Okay.
Are you guys familiar
Right
with those vertical shorts?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
They're like
just
condensed stories.
They're like mini soap operas meant to be watched on like your phone.
On a
So
phone.
they're filmed vertically, which is why they call them that.
Sure.
So
But
that's
not on
they're
movie.
they're really short, but they're kind of a 3-act story, right? Like
Uh-huh.
you're getting a beginning, a middle, and end
it's
in the time it takes for like a bus trip or something.
not exactly. So if you watched it all spread out, it'd be like maybe a 2.5-hour movie.
Oh, okay.
It's
okay.
a soap. It's like a soap.
It's soapy, yeah.
It's very soapy. Like it's the mustache twirling villains and the innocent girls. And I play a lot of evil stepmothers, like slapping young pretty girls and calling them sluts and throwing drinks on them. But then I've been the
Are you
slacky-
method? Are you
Nah, no.
fully slapping and
No, and I've been the receiver of it. There's been a couple where I've been like the beleaguered mother with a lost child who like finally comes back. But they're my soap watching years have paid off in terms of
Nice.
really understanding the genre. They're very over the top. They lean more into like telenovela than maybe a traditional soap. Some of them are pretty terrible. But people are paying more to watch verticals on these platforms than for like a Netflix subscription with no commercials. Like they will
Okay.
pay more to watch these. It's nuts. They're very popular.
Nice.
They all came
I
out.
think the States are probably catching on later than the rest of the world on those.
Yeah.
They're worldwide for sure. They get millions of views.
Right.
And they all, like almost every script you do has a Chinese counterpart because that's where they started. So like that script, that whole thing exists with a Chinese cast, but then it's been like translated, sometimes not well, and then done like an American version of it.
So what's the platform or app or where can these be watched?
Multiple ones. I've done them on Good Short, Real Short, Drama Box. If you're getting ads for them and you just go over to like any one of those platforms, they're out there and they pop up all the time. Like I've done some that still haven't come out, but they run the gamut of like the traditional Cinderella myth to werewolves, like Twilight type ones, like werewolf vampire, to mafia, to kind of family drama ones. There's tons of them.
And you'll tease these on your Instagram?
No, I don't usually post about them. There's so many,
okay.
you know what I mean? And they like, if people are into them, they're into them. But
yeah.
I
mean, I'm interested in it in the abstract. I don't know if I can commit that much money.
You literally might want to cut this whole section out about the verticals and just leave it off with my Instagram thing because it isn't something that I like. You know.
Okay. I can cut that.
Yeah.
Well, Laura Faye Smith, I, for one, am looking forward to watching for the first time Black Widow.
Very rare to hear him say that.
Yeah.
It is not an everyday occurrence where he says that on this.
Well, now I'm
podcast.
feeling like some responsibility and potential guilt. Like if you guys really,
I chose it for reasons, or I had like shortlisted it for reasons. I had
but
my
it was
own
on
interests in this.
It was on cable so much. I'm surprised that neither
I
of
didn't
you
have
ever...
cable growing up.
Well, that would do it. Yeah.
Yeah, me either.
Because I didn't have it till pretty late, and but I remember them watching a lot. I think like when I've talked with Lori, she like Lori Ferraro, she's seen so many movies I haven't seen, but she grew up with cable. Yeah. And I'm like, well, that's why, because I had to like pay to see that stuff, or we rented it, or I had to wait for it to show up on TV.
Yeah,
but
that's
I
why
missed
she's
a lot.
seen Turk 182.
Yeah.
I'm still not convinced that's a movie.
Yeah, me neither. we were convinced that was a movie that her dad shot.
Like, when he didn't have like enough money for Christmas one year.
Yeah.
And then he did that.
Made this,
got Robert Urich to help him out. Robert Urich and Robert Culp helped out, but otherwise it was just the people in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
All right. Well, when next we meet, we'll have all rewatched Black Widow.
Okay. I'm looking forward to it.
Thanks for joining us, Laura Faye Smith.
My
Thanks,
pleasure.
Laura Faye.
Thank you.
We'll see you on the other side.
Okay.
That was another installment of the Unkind Rewind, mining our childhood for content, one film from a guest's past at a time. Unkind Rewind is a Munchcasts production and can be listened to wherever you download your podcasts and watched on the Unkind Rewind YouTube channel. Music for this and every other episode of Unkind Rewind was composed by Divorcio Suave. Rate, review, like, and subscribe to Unkind Rewind on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, and Good Pods. Links to all of our social media accounts are in our show notes, but you'll find us as @UnkindRewindPod on Letterboxd and nearly every social media platform, all of which can be found at our website, unkindrewind.com. If you have a question, concern, complaint, or feedback, you can email the podcast at unkindrewindpod@gmail.com or call into our call-in line, area code 507-479-6440, and leave a message that can be played on air. Fans should join the Munchcast Discord to discuss this or any other episode of the Unkind Rewind with like-minded people. This dialogue may just make it into a future episode of the pod. Unkind Rewind Patreon will be coming soon, so start squirreling that pocket change away. Thank you for listening to the Unkind Rewind.